Hello everyone. Welcome to Ed Talk TV, Conversations Worth Having. I hope you're having a fantastic day wherever you're tuning in from. Please let us know in the comments, even if you're watching the replay. That's right, replay viewers, you guys count, and I still want you to engage with us, okay? The magic happens in the comments, so don't forget that. If you're new around here, welcome. My name is Ed, and I'm the guy that helps take your ideas and turn them into income and guide you through the tech challenges along the way. You can find out all about me and the services I offer over at checkwithed.com. Not now, but later. Also, while you're there, be sure to do two things for me. One, I need you to sign up for my email list. It's just one email a week. I send it to you on Fridays with a quick recap of what I've been up to, all the episodes of Ed Talk TV, sometimes discounts, and other fun things are in there. So take a look at that, sign up for that. And then at the very, very least, I need you to check out Hey Ed. That's the Hey Ed community, and that is for all business owners. All business owners. It's your business and tech support. It's your lifeline. It's so much fun. We get the work done. It's something that you have to at least check out, because I don't want you to say later, Ed, where was I this whole time? How come you didn't tell me? I'm telling you right now. Check it out, okay? So those are the two things I need you to do over at checkwithed.com. And then if you're brand new to me, the way this works is this is a business talk show. We talk about business, tech, and the user experience. I encourage you throughout the broadcast to not only share, like, and love it all up, but most importantly, comment, even if you're watching the replay. So you're going to hear that from me a lot. Comments are huge, not just for me, but for you to be able to engage with me. Today we're going to have a guest, so you can engage with them as well. But it's also a way for you to be seen and heard by others and be able to make those connections. And that's what we're all about here. So don't be shy. You can at least say hello. I love seeing, you guys, I love seeing the replay viewers pop in and say, hashtag replay or catching the replay, the CTR. There's so many different things. And even just that little piece is awesome. It's just super cool. So let me know in the comments where you're tuning in from. Hey, Angelica, welcome. And how your day is going, even if you're watching the replay. Today, we are going to have a special guest. But before we bring them on, I'm actually going to share some random news. Some tasty random news, I will say. Well, I haven't actually tasted it yet. Although today is really hot where I'm at. I don't know where you guys are at, but in Northern California, it's 95. You probably can hear my fan in the background. We don't have AC. And I'm just like, okay, we're going to do this show, and then I'm heading downstairs because it is too hot upstairs. That's all I'm going to say about that. And so I'm like over here, I'll be drinking a lot more water today. As you can see, I got the bigger cup, whatever you want to call that, tumbler. Hey, Paula, welcome. Hope you're having a great Tuesday as well. So let's take a look at random news before we switch over to bring our guest on. In random news today, we got wine. Just kidding, it's not wine. But it is wine. It's non-alcoholic wine. And it's a whole new category. Hey, Erica, welcome. This is a whole new category, you guys. I'm really curious about this one. Have you guys heard about this or seen this? It's super cool. There's this, Erica popped in at the right time. There's this whole thing going on with this new category that a company is launching. This company is launching now called Wine Water. WW what? I don't know, I just made that part up. But it's called Wine Water, seriously. And so with Wine Water, they're actually repurposing. Yeah, do you see where I was going with that? Yeah, repurposing. You know, if you've been following me, I love to repurpose. So they're actually taking this natural beverage that is infused with, I don't know why I'm looking down when I have it right in front of my screen as well. I have two screens, you guys. It's so weird. But they are taking an infusion of the grape skin and the seeds that are left over from the winemaking process. Super cool. And this is the kind of stuff that we all need to be thinking about. Not necessarily seeds and grapes and wine all day, even though I live in wine country. No. I'm saying, what we need to be thinking about is how can we work smarter, not harder? You know me, I'm always thinking about how can we make this better? What can we use? What tools and resources do we already have that we can utilize? Which is why I emphasize joining the Hey Ed community, because that's where we really can expand on those things, right? And so it's one of those things that, yeah, Erica's all, Ed is king of repurpose. It's true. It's true. What can I say? But it's one of those things that there's so many things that we can do with just one little thing in our toolbox. And we can just expand it. And actually what's kind of cool, well, it is cool, I will tell you. If you've been following me on my personal page, personal profile, and actually I posted it on this one too, over the weekend I came up with a new course, which I haven't been working on a course lately, and it just came to me. And so it's feeling like it's my signature course. And I filmed it yesterday morning. I cut out time, filmed it. I had cut out time yesterday afternoon. I edited it all, and then I uploaded it today to my Stupid Easy website. It's not live yet, so don't worry about it. I'll promote it when it's live and let you guys know. But I'm telling you this because it's one of those things that the systems and processes I've been doing and the work that I've been doing all of this time, I haven't really packaged it together in an easy way for you guys. And it just hit me, and I was like, oh, this is what people need. This is what they are asking for. And this is what I need to be doing. So it's one of those things that you just kind of have to breathe a little bit and look around at what you've been doing and where you've been at and really decide, like, how can you repurpose? How can you reuse things? In this case, the wine. They're taking things from the process that they're already doing and they're using it, which is awesome because I don't know how many of you guys know this, but last Labor Day, I went to a friend's house down in Southern California, and she had a harvesting party on Labor Day where we got to harvest her grapes and her small little vineyard, and it was super cool. I got to learn all about the grapes and be able to cut them fresh, from the vines, and be able to go through and do the manual crusher and the destemming and all of that stuff. So much fun, so cool to learn all that stuff, and I wasn't even in wine country where I live. It was down in Southern California, but that's just the way it works. Young Pratt, welcome. This wine is such a great example of repurposing. Yeah, isn't it? It's really cool. And when I saw that today, I was like, okay, that's awesome. I instantly was like, I got to show this on the show. I was almost going to do it as just its own private episode, and I was like, no, it's too good. I got to jump in and just say it. So, hey, Mickey, welcome. Mickey, real quick. You missed the wine. I'll bring it back for you, though. Wine water. It's not alcoholic. And they are repurposing. They're taking grape skins and seeds that are left over from the winemaking process, and they're utilizing it to create what looks like an amazing bottle. I don't know. What do you guys think of the design and everything? It really looks, for summertime especially, because it's hot, it looks refreshing. It looks like a wine bottle. And it's just got a really nice feel to it. So at first look, I'm enjoying this, and the branding is really nice too. So there's that. Mickey, how hot is it down there? I know you were sweating on your live the other day too. Today's my day. It's like woo. Okay, so if you guys are new, just so you know, you can always become a guest on the show later, not now. When you head over to checkwithed.com. Remember, you're going to sign up for the newsletter, and then you're going to look at the Hey Ed community. After you do all that, then you can look at Ed Talk TV, and that's where you can sign up to become a guest. For now, though, I'm going to go ahead and call our guest and bring them on so we can start learning together. All right, so I got to get my screens ready. We're going to go ahead and give our guest a call. It's like my favorite part, one of my favorite parts of the show, or probably the ultimate favorite part of my show. Yay, we have audio.
Hello.
Hi, hello, how are you?
I am so good. I'm just going to adjust the camera here.
Perfect. Okay. Awesome. I'm so excited that you're here, and I'm going to go ahead and let you introduce yourself to the audience so that they know who you are.
Sure. So if we haven't met yet, my name is Young Pratt, and I am the Chief Dreamer, podcaster, and author over at Our Young Creators. And at OYC, we love to equip kids with real-world skills using technology so that they can become creators and not just consumers.
I love that That is really cool, you guys. And I don't know how many of you remember this or know this, but I actually used to work in after-school programs for, I think, like 13 years or something, and I've always been around kids, helping them and working with them. And so this really makes me happy to be able to like help incorporate them and being able to allow them to learn more than just the typical technology, here's a game or here's music or whatever.
Absolutely, yes. It's amazing to see kids and their eyes lighting up, and they get so excited about the possibilities. And before I started OIC, I ran a performing arts school for 17 years. And so this is really just an extension of that by incorporating my love of empowering kids and my love of technology and really kind of bringing those together finally. And it's been such an awesome ride.
That is so cool. And now, how did you know to go this route? Because that's really cool to go from that to this. Was there a sign, or were you just like, okay, this is it?
So there were a lot of signs along the way, and of course, like most people, I kind of ignored them, thinking, no, that's not really what I want to do. And then the more I started sharing with people kind of the story behind the business, which is last fall, I needed to replace my virtual assistant, and I really wasn't sure how I wanted to do that. So I started teaching my then 11-year-old how to do things like put together a blog, embed the video, embed the audio, edit the audio, create graphics. And she was so good at it that by going through that process and then sharing the story, other people started asking me, hey, I would love to do that with my kids. I'm a business owner, and I really want to be able to give my kids a real job to show them that their skills are valuable, that what they can contribute is amazing, and then really teach them how to become an entrepreneur in the process.
Yes. This is like, you guys, I'm over here just like dying. This is perfect because it is. Kids love this, and I've actually seen this a lot. Some of our parents here on the show, I've seen you guys do that. I know Jennifer Phelps has been doing that with her daughter on her lives when she's in the kitchen cooking, and then they're doing dancing, and they're just having so much fun. And kids love that, you guys. They love being able to hang out with their parents while they're working, right? I mean, that's one thing, but then it's another to be able to actually do a task. And a task that's actually going to set them up for success later. Like, super cool. So cool.
Yeah, it's been so much fun to see my kids, both of them now, work in my business and help to teach our courses and our programs and help to mentor other kids and their families. So it's such a cool thing to not have to trade time in my business for time with my kids. We can kind of combine the whole thing together, which was the piece that I was personally missing for so long. Running a performing arts school, there were lots of nights and weekends and holidays that I was helping other people's kids get ready to be on the stage and do those things. And I felt like my kids sometimes got the short end of the stick. So this business has really been a way for my kids to join me in this process and for them to be able to use their creativity and their ideas and really show the world that kids can do so many things if they're given the opportunity to do them.
Yes, I love this. This is so good. This is so good.
So much fun. Yeah, and my youngest also, she does some work for other people now, which is so great that the skills that she's learned with us, that she can now do things like she paid for her summer camp and she was able to actually go out and have big adventures because the skills that she learned side by side with me, she can now use to serve others. And that's really what we love to help families do. That, we love helping families to craft their stories, share their adventures, and our favorite medium is podcasting. Oh, cool. And podcasts are easier than ever to create these days. And kids, again, they're so quick on their technology, on their phones, on their devices. So why not help them to share their adventures and be an example for other kids who are looking for ways to have a better future and not have to always be following the herd, if you will.
Right, right. No, exactly. And I'm sure a lot of parents watching now and on the replay were all perked up when you were like, she paid for a summer camp. Everyone's like, wait, what? Where do I sign up? Because my kid needs to be paying the bills now.
Yes, and with summer right here, I mean, it's not very, very long before our kids start saying, hey, I'm bored, what do I do?
Yeah.
And so we're kind of taking the whole thing and flipping it. You know, they're already on their devices. They're already wanting to be there. So why not just let them be there, but then give them some tools and resources so they can really start to stand center stage and, you know, share their stories and share their gifts with the world.
Yeah. And no, okay, so I like this. So let's say because most people probably know this already, I don't have any kids yet. I'm the uncle to everyone. But let's say I wanted to, you know, get little Jimmy or Stephanie set up with moving forward in terms of they have their device. They're always on Snapchat. They're always on XYZ. How do I start that conversation, or what's kind of like some of the steps that you would get somebody to move forward with?
This is a really good question because I have a 15-year-old now and she spends a lot of time on social and she looks at things like BuzzFeed and Pinterest, and she's not really on any platforms, but I started to ask her to show me what she was looking at and to say, hey, I want to hear more about this. And right now, she's really into makeup tutorials, so she is consuming a lot of video content, and then she's trying it out. So, I mean, she's a perfect student for any of us who are doing video in our businesses because kids also want to learn. They want to learn new ways to do things. They want to learn about new styles. And so when I started looking at what she was looking at, I would go take a look, and then I would ask her, okay, so you like this, you like this image. What is it about this image that you like? And then the next question is, do you think you could create something like that for this video? And then, by the way, I have this other video. I want you to create a graphic for it. Or we have a podcast guest coming up. Can you create the graphic for the guest? So it was all in little baby steps, especially when they're right in the middle of their teen years, because it's not so cool sometimes to hang out with mom and dad and to be learning from them all the time. Right. So it definitely took little mini questions and little mini sessions to really start getting, especially my oldest, who's now going to take over my Pinterest account, and she's created all the graphics for that. She spent the last 2 weeks crafting all those things, making new graphics for all the podcast episodes. And so now she's ready to dive into the website and, start sharing what she has created, and she's really excited about it.
See, that is really cool, you guys. What I'm hearing so much is the fact that you're curious. You're showing an interest in something that they're already doing. You're not forcing them onto something that you're into or that you came across, but you're checking in with them and asking, what are you doing? What are you watching? I'm just curious. Oh, why do you like that? Why does that stand out? Those are huge, you guys. Even if you aren't working with your kids, let's say you're working with a client, it's the same thing. You want to ask those types of questions. You want to be curious because you want to get to know them and what their interests are and get a different perspective and then see how you can tie it into whatever it is you're working on. So that, I really love that.
And that's really been huge because when I went the other route and said, hey, I would like for you to do this, there was huge resistance about, I am not doing that. Yep. That is a waste of my time. Why would I do that? But then I started unfolding and unpackaging scenarios for her about, okay, once you start learning this, I have some friends who I know need some help with this in their businesses. I could introduce you and see if you might be able to do some work for them. So she's already seen her younger sister work for somebody else and get paid to create and contribute. So she's definitely curious about, how do I do this my own way, and how do I start creating a stream of revenue that is going to be fun for me? Yeah,
and that's a big one. And, you mentioned she's watching makeup tutorials. I've only heard of this, but I know that those are very, very popular on YouTube. Like, it's just crazy how popular they are, and they're everywhere. And you're like, as a business owner, you're kind of thinking, well, how do you stand out if there's so many people doing it? And that's where you have to be curious, and you have to tune in, and you have to watch, and you have to ask questions, and see what draws people to those users or to those presenters, those people that are doing the tutorials, because that's how you figure out how you're going to stand out.
Absolutely. And, video is such a huge component for everybody in business. And when I present this idea of bringing kids into the businesses, a lot of business owners I talk about, it's a hard no. And then I tell them a little bit more about what we're doing, and, their ears kind of perk up and they start to listen, because I always tell them, especially if you have kids, you definitely don't want to overlook that asset, because kids are definitely one of the biggest assets a business owner can have. Because how different is the story of a video about a kid sitting next to you doing a live with you, or you can showcase the work they're doing to demonstrate that kids can absolutely be a huge fundamental part of a business, versus, listening to me or you as adults just talking and sharing what we know. It's definitely a different story, a different vibe, different mindset when we start thinking of ways we can bring our kids into our businesses, and how we can really start modeling that idea of entrepreneurship versus getting a regular job.
Right.
Not that there's anything wrong with that, but when they turn, 16, 17, 18 and want to make some income, I keep giving them these parallels. Well, you could do this, and you could work this many hours and get paid about this much, or you can work about a quarter of that amount and still get paid the same. So let's think about how you might want to unfold that.
Yeah, no, and it's also great to give kids options, because you're allowing them to be creative. And these days more than ever, I feel like the kids are so creative, and they have those creative juices flowing, but we and / parents mostly may not be able to see that all the time, because their jobs, the jobs that the kids want, haven't been created yet, or they're not available where they're at, because they're not in the same location or whatever. So it's like being able to give them that option of, well, here is an opportunity for you, and then here is a day job that you might need to take on full-time or part-time in combination with that. Like, options are good, especially for the youth.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that you said was really key, that you have to give them options. If you just sort of say, this is it, and this is it, and it's all black and white, they sort of don't like that. And so I discovered by trial and error that the more options we can give, do you want to work on this today, or do you want to work on this tomorrow? Do you want to create this today, or do you want to do it a different day? And by letting them really kind of create their own schedules and build in the flexibility that we all love about being an entrepreneur, it really starts to get them thinking about, I wonder what else I could be doing. If I'm doing this now and I'm this age, I wonder, in 5 years' time, what I could be doing, or in 10 years' time. Like, what does my future look like? And I love that, there's this unlimited potential in these kids. And, the more we can expose them to different options, and technology is such a big part of their lives, and they're so native on using these devices. I mean, I really just think it's just a marriage made in heaven, as far as let's just, let's stop bickering with our kids on these things and start bonding with them and learning side by side with them and creating things together. And then by creating, we can go out there now and start to serve others. And then, this picture gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and we can keep painting all the way to the perimeter of, this huge world of possibility.
Yeah, no, and I love how you broke that down, because the bonding time is really important to you guys, because I know that a lot of parents aren't able to keep up with the technology. I get that. That's fine. And you get stressed out, and then you kind of the kids are left to kind of figure out online world by themselves, which is a scary thing. And so this is a great way to be able to get back into sync with them and let them show you what they do, what they're into, what they're working on, and have them slightly teach you here and there little bits, so then that way you can understand technology a little bit better. Like, you have that resource right there at your fingertips, and now you can just bond with them and hang out with them and kind of learn something on the side too.
Yeah, and you may have to ask more than once, because you may, again, meet with some resistance, because what they're doing is cool, and mom and dad aren't necessarily always as cool as they are, and we don't know nearly as much.
Yep.
So you may have to ask multiple times to get them to really start to respond, and, ask the small questions. Again, about show me what you're looking at. What kind of things do you like to look at? Or look at the images they're looking at. So we can start to not only, monitor a little more about what our kids are doing, because that's a fear that's very real that parents have about my kids on the internet. How do I monitor them?
Exactly.
Starting to engage with them and get curious. It's really about being that investigator. What are they curious about? How can I get curious about that? How can we turn that time? Because as parents, we're learning how to navigate this digital world, and most of us don't have standards in place for how we interact with devices. So the kids are watching us. So we really sort of have to be learning this together and go on this adventure side by side and help one another to get to that next level.
Yeah, no, and I'm already envisioning, you guys, that there's those times, like, how many, even if you're watching the replay, how many of you guys have like an Apple TV or a Amazon stick or whatever device, technology device to the TV? You can have one of the kids show you something, like, and you don't have to say, oh, can you show me this, because that might be real resistant. They're like, can't you figure this out? Didn't you Google it? Didn't you ask Ed? Like, they're going to have all of these excuses, right? But if you know they're watching, let's say, a tutorial on makeup or on skateboarding or whatever, and they're watching it on their device, and you guys are just hanging out, that's when you can say, oh, why don't you just put it on the TV? And that way you don't watch it on your small screen. And then they're like, oh, okay. Because you're showing some kind of interest, but you're not, you're trying to just play it cool. You're not trying to get too excited. Then they put it on the TV, and now there's like, you're cooking dinner or whatever. They're watching it on TV, and you can at least see what they're watching.
Yeah.
Then maybe ask some questions. You want to play it cool. You don't want to just jump all in, because then they jump all out.
Absolutely, yes. So true. And with my daughter in the makeup videos, something that's really cool about Summer is that she'll watch these videos and she'll say, hey, Mom, I want to try this. And so she knows I go live, several times during the week, and so I'll let her try it on me. And I may not always like it. However, I'm always respectful of, she's excited about this, so how can I help her get more excited about that? Yeah. And then my youngest loves to watch tutorials on how to build like doll houses and how to build all these things or sew things together. And so now I actually have her grab her phone when she's making something and do the time-lapse video where it just goes hyperspeed through something, and then she'll show me. And it's the coolest thing to watch, because she had this idea, she saw something online, which all of our kids are doing. They're finding the things that resonate with online, and they want to try it out in real life. And so if we can be an open canvas to that and allow those conversations to start to flow, and we can just ask questions or suggest things to them and give them options and opportunities, that's when I think the real magic starts to happen.
Oh, yes. And I love that you brought up both of those examples, because that's all about documenting, right, you guys? It's all about documenting what you do. It doesn't have to be a live video. It can be podcast. It can just be pre-recorded. I've told you guys before, there's times where I grab my phone and I literally record myself doing whatever for business, but I don't share it with you yet because I haven't released XYZ. But I want to have it in the back there just so that way I can show, the footage at some point in time. It's those types of things. And what's really cool, you mentioned about how she tries out the makeup on you and is filming it. Now, already, my brain is like, and again, I don't know the whole makeup tutorial section on YouTube, but my guess is that most of those YouTubers are doing that themselves, meaning the makeup artist person is trying it on them while they're filming. So now your daughter is doing that with you, which therefore makes her stand out because she's not doing it to herself, she's doing it to her mom. And how fun is that,
Yes.
for teenagers to be like, oh, I want to check out this girl because she got her mom to do this. Like, let's see what she can do. And then maybe there's a day where she goes like way heavy on the makeup and really makes you look, pop, like really pop. It's like those types of things, is what's coming to mind when you said that. It makes her stand out. It's something different.
Absolutely, and she's a little bit more resistant to want to be on the camera. So
Yeah.
I like this idea about her doing the application. She can even be talking,
Yeah.
but she doesn't have to be face to camera.
Right.
And one of the requests we get over and over, and I'm sure you hear this too, is my kid wants to become a YouTuber.
Yep.
How do we do it? And, it's these simple things about being curious about what our kid's doing and giving them an opportunity to test things out and then documenting it. That's what it is.
Yeah.
That's the YouTube channel. It's nothing more complicated than that.
Yeah, and I think if I remember correctly, Paula, hopefully I remember correctly, one of our viewers, Paula, so I did this hashtag, what was it, Shower Challenge Go, not too long ago, where we had a singing in the shower type thing that went viral, well, sort of viral here within our little space. But you guys can search it on Facebook. There's some on Instagram, but mostly on Facebook, hashtag Shower Challenge Go. But what was fun is, I believe it was Paula, where she had one of her kids film as she was doing that in the shower. So, and we were all fully clothed and stuff like that. It's a fun one where we just lip sync and just pretended like we were singing in the shower. So that was really fun for her kid because they got to record and be the director. So it was really neat to have that added addition. And then Jennifer and a few others had shot in the bathroom with their kids. So it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, and I think the more that we can give ourselves, that we can give into this silliness and this kid-like nature that we sometimes forget as adults, the more we can be silly and, get goofy with our kids and give them these opportunities, I think those are the things that start to build these amazing memories for them. So when they look back 20 or 30 years from now, they can remember those times where they got to film mom in the shower singing or doing whatever else. And I think it's just another application for technology and how we can really start to be intentional with its use rather than just scrolling mindlessly. We can be doing stuff together, creating stronger bonds, creating memories, and those in turn are going to last a lifetime.
Oh, it's so true. And that's the beauty of technology today and being able to do all of that for free, you guys. I mean, you're learning together for free. The device is there. You may not know how to use it. It may be like the device of unknown. But when you guys sit together and just play, you figure it out. It's really
Absolutely.
cool.
Well, even, if you think about playing games, kids are into their games and, there's one that you can play with other people. And so sometimes I'll randomly in the day get a text from my daughter with I think it's Game Pigeon, where she's sending me this game to play next, right?
Oh, yeah.
But if we take that to a deeper level, how cool would it be to give them an opportunity to learn about how to make that happen? Not just be doing the game, but how do I put it together behind the scenes? What is the tech behind that? What is the coding that's required? That might be something they're interested in too. So again, really just being open to, let's not bicker about these devices.
Yeah.
Let's be open to exploring together and creating opportunities to really start, building fantastic memories and using what we're already doing in our lives. There doesn't have to be anything scripted. It can just be totally impromptu. And those are the best things, I think, because you capture the essence of the emotion and the excitement and the playfulness. And that is what's going to resonate with an audience.
It's so true. And, I'm already thinking of Fixer Upper. I don't know if anybody watches Fixer Upper, but I've seen a few episodes where they bring their kids. I forget the husband and wife, but they bring their kids on, and she's showing them. And then all of a sudden there was one episode where the kids put things in the shelves the way that they thought. And she looked at it and she's like, wow, Like, that's perfect. Like, you guys are learning and you guys just did it. And they felt so cool about it. And it was neat. And that's what makes that episode extra special, obviously, because I remembered it from that little point. Right? So,
yeah, and I think after that, I did a few more because I watched some recent episodes when we were traveling, and I thought that's so cool that she gave her daughter free reign to design a room and then go decorate the room, and I thought that was really, really cool because, what I'm most amazed at all the time when my kids do something is that, I'll create a system and I'll make a video and show them how to do it so they can go back and remember it, so I'm not always having to retell them the same thing.
Right.
But then what they come back with after they've created something for me, first of all, there's the pride they feel in themselves for having done that. But then I'm always blown away about what it is they created because, of course, I have a vision in my head about what I think I'm going to get back. However, usually what I get back from them is 10 times better than what I could have even imagined. And I just think that's a beautiful thing to empower kids like that, where they can really start taking responsibility, taking charge of it, making it their own, and then coming back and saying, hey, I did this.
Right. And another thing that comes to mind off of that is the kids, remember, we've all been creative at some point in time, whether we are right now or not, but we have creativity that flows through us. But kids, while they're still exposed to a lot of things, their brains, I think, are more open to creativity than us as adults for the most part, right?
Yes.
Because as adults, we start getting into our groove, and then we start, having these, we got to block things out. We've seen too many ads, so we have to kind of shy away from that and do this and that, or whatever the case may be. Unless you're like me, where I'm just constantly researching. I'm still a kid at heart and apparently my brain. But it's one of those things where, kids, it's just natural for them to just be creative. They just need that outlet to go to be creative.
Yeah, and especially during the summer, right, when we have a very open schedule, there's not all the structured things. Both of my kids go to public school, and they do well there. However, when I look at how their day is being structured, there's not a lot of time that they get to spend in problem solving or incorporating the information, assimilating it, and then applying it in a new way, which I think is really what's missing in the educational system. I appreciate all the teachers and what they do with their limited time and budget. So during the summer especially, I love being able to give kids opportunities to start to explore. If they like video, how can we take that experience and plus it? If they like audio, how can we give them, a device where they can start, sharing their stories or the songs that they have going through their head? If we can start recording those things and then really start to uplift them, to encourage them to do more. I mean, if we all, took a little bit of time in our schedules, and even if we don't have kids, there's a kid in your life somewhere, whether that's a community group, through a church, your next door neighbor, there's always a kid that needs a little extra love in their life. And this is a good opportunity to say, hey, I noticed that you liked this. Would you like to come try this with me? Or I have a project. Would you like to see if you can tackle it for me? Because I'm not sure how to do it, and I'd love your feedback.
Yes.
I mean, just by saying that you want their feedback and not asking them necessarily how to do something, but I need your feedback. I need your ideas. I think that really excites them too, and starts to allow them to assimilate what they've learned in school and in their life and the time they spend with their friends, and really start to put things together in a very creative, very interesting manner.
Yeah, and what's nice about that too is when you ask them for that feedback, you're including them in the conversation, right? Now the kid is not feeling excluded for whatever reason. They don't feel like they're just a kid, that nobody pays attention to them, whatever their excuse may be at that moment. But that is when the tables shift, and that's kind of like, oh, me? You want me to help? Oh, okay. And then you start to see them really blossom and really branch out of their outside their box, and you just never know where that's going to go. And it's just a really beautiful thing when you see that light bulb go off.
Absolutely. And you mentioned before that our kids are going to live in this future where jobs haven't been created yet. And I think there's a statistic about, when our kids enter the workplace, 65% of the jobs that are going to exist haven't been created yet. So by allowing our kids an opportunity to use their creativity, use their problem-solving skills, use their gifts and talents that they're born with and put them together in a way that makes sense for them, that makes me really, really hopeful for the future, because they're the innovators, they're the creators, they're the ones who are going to lead us all in a very good direction.
Exactly. And that's the thing, is being able to just ask and listen, you guys. That's all we all want, but especially kids. They just want to be asked and they just want to be listened to. It's the same thing that we want, and being able to include them in these areas of our life, especially business, is huge. And I forget where I was or what the scenario was, what was going on, but there was something the other day where I thought, and I had told somebody, I said, if I had a kid right now, I mean, obviously college is good, and I wouldn't say don't go to college, but I would have a hard time, given who I am in terms of researching and, finding all of the crazy things, I would have a hard time telling them, well, I wouldn't tell them which way to go because they would just be able to figure it out for themselves. I would guide them. But for me, I'm like, here's some really good podcasts. Here's a few Facebook Live people you need to pay attention to. Let's talk. We're going to work together and get you your own business and get you going. Like, we're going to teach you everything you need to know. So, it's a crazy thing to think of, where we're in a time where you don't really have to go to college. College is still good, don't get me wrong. I went to college and it was awesome. I went to get my degree, went in and out. I was not partying or any of that stuff because I'm not trying to mess around. I'm very passionate about business and being able to connect people. And so I have no regrets with that. It's just interesting these days because there are some kids who college is not their thing. They're not trying to be in school, yet they still have a talent that they can really grow when they have the right tools and resources.
Yes, and it's so interesting because I'm like you. I have actually 2 degrees, so I was in college for a very long time. Yeah. And when I think about sending my kids off to college, my youngest is headed there in just a couple of years. Yeah, there's that dichotomy of, is it worth going? Is it not worth going? And I, of course, am of the belief that it's a good experience all around. Even if you don't use that degree, I think there's some valuable skills and life lessons and adventures that are just inherent in going to college. But at the same time, like you said, colleges may not necessarily prepare the kids who are going to fulfill their dreams.
Yeah.
I mean, they're a lot of our educational system across the board, I think, is preparing people to go into the workforce, which is totally fine. But for those like us who, our minds are just abuzz with ideas all the time, and there are, it's those kids who aren't able to sit in class and focus because they're daydreaming about what they want to create and how they're going to build that robot or build that website or code that website. It's those kids who, I think they're made to feel in the educational system that they're not good enough. That there's something wrong with them. And I felt that for a very long time until I was in graduate school and, read some research and I figured it out. And I thought, I don't want any kid to feel like they're not good enough, like the skills and gifts and talents they have aren't good enough to make a living out of or contribute to the world in a really meaningful way.
Yeah, and, kids listening, parents with kids around, I do want to mention that when you think about college, it is a very important thing to think about, and you definitely should look into that. There's all these options, but it's so important for you to make sure that you go into something that is of interest, meaning what study are you going into? For me, it was communications, and I knew that going into that was my passion versus being an art major or a history major or an English major. Like, there's nothing wrong with those, but for me, that wouldn't do it. And so then if I was in that position in college, I would be bored out of my mind, you guys. I don't even know if I would have graduated college. So that's why it's important to learn as much as possible from every avenue, podcast, online, live broadcasting, to college and the books and everything, to determine what is interesting, and then from there take classes and understand. Like for me, the way I look at school from elementary all the way through college is it's a huge networking facilities event,
Yes.
whatever you want to call it. Like I literally, you guys, the only reason I really love school is for the connections. It's like recess every time you go and you meet people. You know, it's so awesome to be able to meet new people and to find people with common interests and find people that connect you with so and so. So remember that's the biggest thing to remember, is that it's all about those connections and just learning something that you think you might be passionate about, or that you are passionate about, because sometimes you just don't know until you jump into it.
Right, and when I look back now about deciding what you want to be at the age of 18, you have the rest of your life ahead of you, that's a big, scary thing for kids to do. And now that my kids are nearing that age, I feel like that's a big responsibility for them to take on their shoulders, but it doesn't need to be so stressful and so heavy. Because like you said, going to college is really like it's a way to network. And I think the way that businesses are running online and how we can introduce our kids to business online, I think it's also a huge part of networking and connecting with others. And that's really what I love about being able to bring my kids along on this journey with me, to show them what I'm doing and then give them an opportunity to do something similar that they might be more passionate about.
I love that. Well, we're coming up close to time. Did you have anything else that we wanted to make sure to mention before we wrap it up here? Or I just want to make sure we have enough time to cover everything.
Sure, I would just say for all the parents listening, or for anyone who is listening live or on the replay, if there is a child in your life, I want you to embrace them and get excited about what this new world of technology looks like. Let's not, start to bicker with our kids. Let's really start to use it and embrace the experiences we can create together with technology to create those memories and open up doors to so many possibilities that are in front of us that we haven't thought of, and we need someone to do it. So definitely that rests with our kids, being able to have lots of opportunities and lots of opportunities to network, especially to really create and craft that life that they dream about. And for them to have an amazing future really begins with us, and about allowing and just loving the journey and enjoying it together.
I love that. Thank you so much. This was awesome, and I'm so glad that we were able to talk about being able to get the kids involved and let them shine, because that's what it's all about. And they're going to have fun, and we're going to have fun because we're going to be learning as well. So it's all around winning for everyone.
Absolutely. Yes, I totally agree. It's winning for all, and we couldn't ask for more. And I just want to thank you, Ed, for giving me an opportunity to come and share what it is that my kids and I are creating in the world. And definitely, if there's someone listening, please message me. I would be happy to answer questions or to continue this conversation with you about how to get your kids involved in your business and how they can become your greatest asset.
Yes, I love that. Thank you so much. And yes, be sure to share whatever links you have in the comments so people can find you. And I tagged everyone. I tagged her business page as well, so you can see that there in the post as well. Thank you so much for joining us today.
It's been my absolute pleasure. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, guys. How cool is that? That's what we're talking about. So, again, if you would like to become a guest here on the show, you can just head over to checkwithed.com. And remember, you're going to do two things before you check out the guest spot. You're going to go ahead and join the email list if you're not on there already, so you stay in the know. And then you're going to check out the Hey Ed community. And then you can look at Ed Talk TV to become a guest, where you'll just fill out a short form to let me know you're interested and what you're wanting to talk about. and we'll go from there. So until next time, we'll see you back here tomorrow. Same time, same place. I was going to go something different, but the word's just there. What can I say? It is hot over here. You guys, I am like dying. So have a great night. I'm going to let you guys go, and we'll see you back here, same time, same place. Take care. Is the Hey Ed community? I'll let them tell you.
I'm drawn to this community, Erica, because listen, I'm going to make sure as a business person, I know you are as well, serious business women we're going to make sure that we're getting the content knowledge we need from the Hey Ed community. But I also want to laugh. I want to have fun. I want to enjoy my workday. And I know I'll get that balance in the Hey Ed community. I know he'll tolerate our tangents.
And I think that's the perfect way to have a really good engaged community. It's a perfect balance of business and fun.